Right now we are in Louisville, not Louisville, Kentucky. I stayed with these fine people last night and we'll be staying tonight. Could you both introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Courtney.
I'm Isiah Dietrich.
And you guys have pretty interesting, like, all-American childhoods, I'd say. So, would you mind telling us a little bit about your upbringings and like what your childhood was like?
You first.
Yeah, I was born in Southern California, in military housing. My dad was in the Marines. I don't remember that part of my life. I remember a little bit of North Carolina. We moved across the nation, spent 2 years there, moved back to California, spent another 5 years there, I would say. So, and then from there, my dad retired. We ended up in Louisville. Just kind of bounced around a little bit. So that was early years.
Okay. And what about yourself?
I was born in a small town in
How many
Kentucky.
people?
That's a great question, but I know when I was
Guess
growing
what?
up, there was one stoplight. So it was a one stoplight town.
One stoplight town in
now there's-
rural Kentucky.
Yeah, now there's like 3 and a McDonald's. Yay. But grew up on a farm in Spencer County and then went to high school in Louisville. So like sophomore year transferred and that's
To
kind
the
of
big city.
Yeah.
Was that like intense going to the big city?
No, because I started playing basketball at, I think I was 7. And so I played on traveling teams in Louisville. And that was where, we're only 30 minutes outside of Louisville, even though most people in Louisville don't know where it is. But everybody came to Louisville to go out to eat, to go to the mall, everything.
So you two had pretty interesting religious backgrounds growing up. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I was raised like Protestant in Church of Christ. I mean, speaking in tongues, hellfire and brimstone, all that good stuff. Yeah, a lot of guilt driven.
What is speaking in tongues?
I mean, I guess it's just another language. It's prayer language that you feel from the inner depth of your soul, maybe, and you're speaking out loud. I mean, it's the Holy Spirit speaking through you, I guess is how they would describe it.
So to an outsider coming into a Pentecostal church and seeing this for the first time, what would they hear? Like, what would they see?
I don't know. Sounds, language. I mean, it's a lot of people jumping around. I mean, quite a while ago, I think I haven't been to a church like that in like 12 years. But I know like one that's permanently ingrained in me. I mean, you get so caught up in it that you kind of generate your own. So my subconscious pulled something that sounds a little like so that was something that burned in my head probably when I was like 14 years old, just to maybe fit in, pull it out, and then have your own language, but I have no idea what it means. Maybe it is something from a higher power. I mean, I personally believe something is out there. I think where religion just defines and wants to argue definitions. But, you know, that could be my subconscious making something up. Could be some higher power. I don't know what it means.
You talked about shame. What do you mean by that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, everything's guilt-driven in religion. A lot of the time, that's the feeling I got out of it. I mean, sex is completely shamed. Lust is shamed. I mean, everything is just, I feel like it's a guilt-driven parenthood. A lot of stuff, oh, you shouldn't do this because, you know, this is what's going to happen. I mean, that's kind of what happens.
And how about yourself, Courtney? What was the church that you grew up in?
I was raised Southern Baptist.
Okay.
So very super conservative.
So it's like Baptist, but with more iced tea.
Yes.
Or sweet tea. Excuse
Yes,
me.
more sweet tea. Hymnals, so everything was, all the music was written in the 1800s or before. Great Sunday lunches, so potlucks where people really knew how to cook. But super, super conservative. My church wasn't
What were some of the rules?
My church wasn't hardcore about it, but no dancing, no drinking, no smoking, none of the big sins. We went to a church later on in life where your shoulders weren't supposed to show. As a woman, you were supposed to wear a cardigan that was, buttoned up so that nothing would be revealing, and girls couldn't sit next to boys.
Lest they be tempted.
Yes, let's say be tempted.
And now we're actually between two boys.
I'm between two boys. Oh my gosh. Very, very big, especially once you reached teenage years on abstinence. We heard lots of different analogies about that, where, you know, if you had sex before marriage, that you were a dirty shoe, and would your future husband want to put on a dirty shoe, or that your heart was your virginity was like a rose, and every time you slept with someone, a petal fell off, and would you want to give your future husband an empty stem?
Oh,
So,
fascinating.
like that.
I actually grew up quite religious myself, and the analogy when this is a true story. I went out into the woods with my dad for what he called manhood training, where he gave me the birds and the bees talk, and we went out camping for the weekend, and we had this like guidebook from an organization called Focus on the Family. Have either of you two ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
And they had activities to demonstrate these like biblical principles. And one of the things they did for the abstinence was you took a water balloon and you filled it full of water, and then you took a needle and you do a little pinprick, and let, you know, just a little water would be squirting out. But, you know, soon after just a few pinpricks, you know, half the water would be out of the balloon. That was the idea anyway, but my dad, he didn't buy the right balloons, and so he would touch it, and the entire balloon would just explode. And so, like, the idea was that, like, little things, you think it's little at the time, but it adds up. But what I learned from it, you do one little thing, it's all over. Did they do purity rings in Southern Baptist?
Yeah, I had one.
You had one. When did you receive your purity ring?
Oh, I think I was like 14 or 15. The True Love Waits ring.
Oh, fast. Did it say like True Love Waits?
Yeah, it's a True Love Waits.
Wow, interesting.
And I wore it for a long time, and then I stopped wearing it because people would ask me if it was wedding ring, and I would say, no, it's a True Love Waits ring. And a lot of people who would ask would be like my friends that were male, and like 25-year-old guys asked me, and I didn't really want to discuss my virginity with them when I was like 16 years old.
And you told me about going to summer camp and what the girls had to wear when they went swimming and what the guys wore.
Yeah, girls weren't allowed to wear bathing like bikinis. So you had to wear like a t-shirt and something over, and now I think you have to wear a t-shirt and like gym shorts, but guys can wear whatever.
They could wear Speedos.
Well, I doubt they would at this. They might. You never know. That might be frowned upon. But bare chest for sure.
And
Very tempting.
let's see.
White t-shirt, I mean, you can get away with a lot with one of those.
It had to be thick cotton.
Oh.
Thick, yeah. Some thick Southern cotton.
Yes.
Right? It's like that country song where they say, like, you know, my dad cries when they're wearing cotton that isn't ours. Have you heard that one before? I don't know. These two, they're from the South, but they don't like country music.
Now we're broken.
We're terrible Southerners.
So, tell me about, did either one of you go to private school?
Yeah, I went to private school until I was in 8th grade.
Was it a religious private school?
Yeah, they're all Christian.
Was there something special about this private school?
Yeah, I mean, nothing particularly special. I know that private school focused a lot on English. So, I mean, I took that from it. I mean, I was so behind in math and science by the time I got into high school. I mean, luckily I had the small exposure to it. I went to like a public 6th grade for like 6 weeks, and I was like, I don't want to do this. So I left and I went back to private school, but that was probably the biggest thing is they were so English driven.
Did you ever go to a private school?
Yeah, I did my last 3 years of high school in private school.
What was this private school?
It was one of the private Catholic schools, because Louisville has a very large private Catholic high school. And I wasn't Catholic, so we had, religion classes, and that was always fun.
And you'd go, saints or idols?
No, I would just on my test, I would say, this is what you want me to answer, but it's wrong. And here's what I believe, but here's the answer that I have to put, because that's...
Did you write both of them?
Yeah,
on the test?
I would write both of them on the test.
That's so good. What was it like going to public high school? You're in this cocoon of the religious private school, and then suddenly you're out in the wild.
It was a little overwhelming. I went from a graduating class of 30 to like 450. So I was total culture shock. I mean, luckily it was a high school that was super open. It was a magnet school with 5 different programs you had to apply into it. It's not like a homeschool, traditional public school. I mean, it's pretty great high school. I mean, I think it's one of the best in the States, especially in the public sector. But it was a huge culture shock. I mean, I saw people with like purple hair for the first time, ear piercings, lip rings, and it was completely okay to go to school that way. There was no dress code in the school. Like as far as traditional uniforms, it had like
Lots
a dress
of
code.
shoulders.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you could wear shoulders. I don't think you could wear tank tops to school.
No.
I don't really remember that aspect of it, to be honest. But I know you had to still have like skirts, like the girls had to put their arms down, and as long as it went past their fingers, it was okay. So I mean, there was some uniforms. It wasn't completely secular, but you still had some variety to make a choice. I also loved it because I mean, with the different magnets, you actually got to choose your schedule. So there was some flexibility in your classes, and you could kind of customize your high school experience. So I mean, it was probably the best high school experience I could ever ask for.
So tell us about your college years. 18 to like 22, 23.
Yeah, college was fun. I mean, I started getting more involved in different nightlifes. I started DJing probably when I was like 19 or so, just to kind of get involved in that. I mean, I found out that there was a lot of money in the gay community and they liked me. So I was like, well, I'm going to DJ these parties and get involved that way.
For those of you watching, you can see why they like him in the gay community.
So I got involved in that, and then that kind of helped open my doors a little bit into that. I mean, college was fun. I worked a lot in college. I worked a lot since I was like 13. I mean, I got my first job refereeing soccer, and I started doing that at 13. I'll never forget, like one of the first few games I got, you get like these grown adults screaming at a 13-year-old referee. It kind of, it's dirty side of society, man. Like these parents are nuts about their kids, and it really tests your, I guess, emotional stability. But I mean, from there, I went to work in college. I worked full-time or part-time night shift for UPS, which their main hub's in Louisville, and they have this great program where they pay for your education. So I went to school, had my education paid for, and I got some of the college experience that way. But I couldn't live on campus. I didn't want to live on campus, and yeah, that was kind of college, working a lot.
So what was it like? You go from speaking tongues, having lots of shame, and suddenly you're DJing in gay nightclubs.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of gradual. Like I think it started getting the exposure in high school, and you start high school at 13. So I mean, that's a good solid 6 years there. I mean, I've always kind of held on to those roots. Like I do believe in a higher power. I don't believe in how religion tried to explain it. I think that cultural limitations are how we create religion, and then it's more for profit. So I still believe in a higher power, and it's really shaped, I guess, my different experiences with that. Like it's kind of gradual, I guess, in my mind. Not to a lot of people it was gradual, but I saw a very liberal side of high school, and from there I was able to really see people as people. And I think that was the biggest thing that I learned getting involved in like the gay community is like, people are people, and we're all trying to do our best, make our connections, and do all that. And I saw a lot of that, mostly in the gay community. Being picked on a bit growing up is never fun. I mean, that happened, but you grow over it, you get over it. And then, I start getting into high school. You slowly start getting a little more accepted. College, it's high school is fitted in the mold. College is like, you're different, then people are attracted to it. So finally, I think college, I started hitting a little more of a stride where people get to see, uniqueness and appreciate it. Ow!
So the character underneath the table that's been shaking the video, what's his name and what type of dog breed is he?
Yeah, Koa just bit my toe, but he is really cute. Let me see if I can lift him up here.
He is 6 months old, right?
Yeah.
He's 6 months old.
And how much does he weigh
He
already?
weighs 61 pounds.
61 pounds.
So he's so cute though, but he's kind of a snot.
What will his adult weight be?
Anywhere between 120 to 150 pounds. So he's got a little bit of growing to go. But he's a Greater Swiss Mountain Dog. I grew up in the neighborhood. All right, you'll go back down now. I grew up in a neighborhood with Bernese Mountain Dogs,
Uh-huh.
and I loved the temperament. I walked them as a teenager, but I didn't want to deal with all their hair. And I found out that there's a bigger version of them, similar temperament, and I fell in
Less
love.
hair.
You know, less hair, but I think they actually shed a little bit more. Learning that after the fact.
So, Courtney, tell us about your college experience. What did you do in college? What did you study?
Well, I was the first person. My parents were amazing growing up and always wanted to give us opportunities that they never had. So I was the first person in my family to go out of state for college. My mom was actually the first person on either side to ever go to college. And then I went out of state, so I went down to Georgia, and I played basketball, which was really interesting. I walked on my first year to a D1 program, and then was on scholarship the second year, and then decided I didn't want to do it anymore. So quit playing basketball, and then studied abroad at Oxford for a semester my junior year.
Smart lady over here.
I don't know about that. And then I did a lot of school. So my school, I had a full ride, which was great.
Smart lady.
To not get student loans. But I guess just figuring out what I wanted to do with life, and decided I wanted to go to law school.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead. Why'd you want to go to law school? Well, what did you get your bachelor's in? First of all, what did you get your bachelor's in, and then why did you decide to go to law school?
I have a degree in economics, and I have a business degree.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
And when I was in college, or I think actually maybe a few years before I went to college, I'm going to age myself, the movie Legally Blonde came out, and I fell in love with it. And I was always good at school, and I just decided I was going to go to law school. I was going to go be Elle Woods in real life.
And were you blonde at the time?
Yeah, I was blonde at the time. And pink is my favorite color, I think, most of the time.
Did you have pink highlights in that blonde hair?
In law school, I did.
So
Yeah.
you went to law school because of Legally Blonde,
Yeah.
and you had blonde hair with pink highlights.
Mhm.
And did you wear pink outfits?
Yeah, when I was admitted to the bar in both Wisconsin and Kentucky, I had a pink suit. I had different pink suits. Pink suit, I had pink shoes. They created an award for me in my third year of law school. It was the Elle Woods Award. It was great. It was really fun. I didn't have a tiny little dog though. We had a huge dog.
And what are you guys up to now? Out here, what are you guys up to?
Well, I just was laid off from my position. It was eliminated 3 days ago, so I'm getting back into the job market. But I was working at a car dealership in internet marketing, mostly inventory control, photography of the vehicles, updating descriptions, and like website auditing, various IT stuff for them as well. Before that, I was in financial services and banking, selling loans, personal banking. It's not too exciting. But on the side, I have done some personal training. I do some massage therapy as well, and just kind of random odd jobs. You kind of hear about random stuff every once in a while.
And you're a lawyer now.
Yeah.
Do you still wear pink suits every now and again?
No, my job right now, we get to wear jeans. So.
But you can wear some wear like a pink top though, like a pink blouse.
I have pink jackets and stuff that I wear. It's always freezing in
Maybe
my
some
office.
pink shoes too. You ever wear pink
Do my
shoes?
shoes have pink on them right now? One pair of shoes has pink on them, but
Yeah,
I
black.
feel like you got the award,
I know.
and
And
now you're
I'm a
letting down
brunette
the
and-
award.
Well, the
You're
second
kind of a
movie
little bit
came
of a
out.
traitor.
The second movie came out and it wasn't very good.
Oh.
Wasn't good.
What's the name
It's
of
a
the
little
actress?
disenfranchised.
What's the name of the actress?
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
So hey, actors and actresses out there, this is what happens when the sequels aren't
Don't
very
make
good.
sequels.
Yeah.
Stop making sequels.
Yeah, wow, that's a little sad. So how did well, first of all, like you two are smart worldly people. Tell us about Kentucky, Louisville. What do you like living about? What do you like about living out here?
I always say it's a city of towns. Like, I love how you can go 3.5 miles and get a completely different neighborhood, a completely different feel. Everything's really easy to get to. I mean, I've been here 17 years. My dad retired and got a job at UPS and their hubs here. But I think that's the biggest thing, and you get a lot of feedback on how kind and nice the people are here. So that's been really inviting over the years, as well as like seeing a change. I mean, I don't like the weather. We don't get enough sun in the winter, but I think a lot of places kind of have that issue. But I mean, it's things that I really love. I mean, especially where we live. I mean, we're a 15-minute drive to anywhere we want to be. Most places is like within a 10-minute drive. You know, even with rush hour, it's not even bad. Like your commute's what, 20, 40 minutes?
20 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, even rush hour on the outside end of the town.
So to make people on both of the coasts really jealous right now, how much did this house cost? Tell us about the house and how much it cost.
Yeah, house 2014. Is that it? $128,000.
Yeah.
Now it's probably worth. I mean, we're gonna put it on the market later this year. Probably 165. We're talking 1,400 square feet, just under 1,400 square feet. 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, Cape Cod style. Upstairs is a full master bedroom suite kind of thing with the bathroom.
And great location, desirable location.
Yeah, I mean, this location's absolutely exploded. Especially, I mean, you go a few blocks down. I mean, it's crazy what homes are going for. But I think overall it's a pretty good location. I mean, her parents think we live in the slums. But I personally have never.
Why do they think that?
Well, they still live in a farm.
Everything's the
County.
slum to them. Right?
There's no livestock anymore, but they have 6 acres, and
You live out on the
creeks.
concrete farm now.
Live on a concrete farm.
Yeah.
And there's lots of different areas of town, like the East End, where that's kind of, it's a great location, but it's the kind of like white picket fence part of town, I would say. And it's just different lifestyles. Like the Highlands is very different from Germantown, which is very different from the East End, and that's
which is so cool.
Yeah.
You can find whatever niche you want to live in. You know, find something small that you can really walk. I mean, the city's made a huge initiative to be more bike friendly.
Mhm.
I mean, when I was bartending, I rode my bike to work. It was like 2.7 miles. Like I was able to get there so quick.
So how did you two hear about couch surfing?
A friend of mine told me about it a few years back. You know, I don't really remember. I think he told me about it. I signed up for it, and I just like had an account and didn't really be active on it for like a year and a half. The first year that I had an account, and then I traveled to Guatemala, had an amazing experience, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start hosting a little bit more.
Oh, you couch surf in Guatemala?
Yeah.
Where'd you stay?
Guatemala City was with the host, and then from there we kind of made a game plan, and we went to Antigua, and then a bunch of like little areas around Antigua up to Tikal, and just like bounced around the countryside. I think we made like a pretty huge triangle with it.
Did you couch surf up in Flores by Tikal?
No, we just stayed in a hostel. Up there.
Okay, I was gonna say you have to have some pretty good luck to maybe find like the only person in town with internet.
Yeah.
And how many people have you two hosted?
8,
something
something like that.
Yeah.
8-ish.
I'm lucky number 8.
Yeah.
It's a very lucky number in many parts of the world. And you two are not political. You don't, not very interested.
It's too hard to keep up with it. No.
So, did either one of you vote in the last election?
Mm-mm.
No, I was out of the state.
I
Probably-
didn't like either candidate.
Probably for the best. Probably best not to get your hands dirty with all that.
Yeah.
Do you two have any fun facts about Kentucky or fun things you'd like to tell about Kentucky? The people, the culture, the history.
I don't know. It's bluegrass state. I mean, we got grass everywhere.
The grass actually does have a blue tint in certain parts of the state, but it's not blue. So people come thinking like, blue grass. No.
No, it's just super green.
No.
Then in the distance, it kind of has blue tint. Is
Yeah.
I think the thing on that. Maybe the sky bouncing off of it.
Mm-hmm. We have amazing food. I mean, Louisville's a great place.
Don't tell everyone.
I know. Don't tell them. When I left when I was 18, I said I was never coming back. I told my parents I hate Louisville. I'm not coming back.
Rebellious teenager.
No way. Well, no. Louisville has changed drastically in the past few years. It's become, there's a lot to do. Thanks to UPS, the food is insane. Because all of it's the main hub, and food comes here next day air. So seafood, everything, even though we're not on a coast, it's still
Pretty fresh.
Pretty fresh. About as fresh as you're going to get outside of the coast. And it's very inclusive. You know, there's a lot of different groups. Like we were talking about earlier, there's a yoga community, which is not just going to classes, but there's actually a community there. And if you really search, even though it's much smaller than a lot of the larger cities, you can find, I think, a lot of the different things that you find in those cities.
Oh yeah, we get all the Broadway productions. I mean, all the arts and different things like great Louisville Orchestra. I mean, great art scene, great local artists. I mean, there's so many art festivals throughout the entire year. Great sense of community. Each neighborhood, at one point in the year, shuts down their streets and has a block party. I mean, Snitzelberg has their Snitzelberg Walk. They have, Bardstown Road is probably closed, which is like the main bar district. It's got to be closed like
20 times a year.
Yeah, something
the
like
zombie
that.
walk.
Something ridiculous, yeah. Do the zombie walk, Irish parade, like Psych Louisville is a thing where they shut down various roads in the city and let people walk and ride bikes on the roads, just free range. So the city's really, I think, driven into like little cultural pockets, which is really cool to see.
But that being said, if you're from California or New York, Louisville sucks. Don't move here.
Don't move here.
Yeah, don't do that.
Weather sucks.
That's the thing.
Well, I think to close, we have lots of books behind us. Want to tell us your top 3 favorite books?
Man.
Can you do a top 3?
I don't know. So, probably top fiction. I really enjoy anything written by Brandon Sanderson. The series Mistborn is great. I'll just group those as one. Definitely check that out. It's just a fantasy world that he creates with various like elemental powers, and you're able to really get creative and lost in the scene he made. As far as non-fictions,
I have mine.
can I cheat?
Think about
Can I like look up here and like see what jumps out at me?
We've got so
There's
much
so
knowledge
many.
behind
There's
it.
so many good books.
I think one of mine is back here.
Man, what is it? I don't know. There's just so many.
Mine would be, I can't find it. It's normally back here, but there is a book called The Four Agreements, and it's great. It's
Don Michael Ruse.
It's not a very long book. Like, it's a pretty quick read, but if you actually apply it to your life, I really think that it adds a lot of happiness. And even just reading the book, you get this kind of sense of peace. But the one I always remember, and it's potentially the one that is most difficult, is don't take anything personally. So it just gives you, there's 4 kind of precepts that if you apply them to your life, and again, they're not easy to apply, but if you can apply them, then it's a huge, huge benefit to a happy life. My other one would be a book called The Soulmate Experience, and he actually gave it to me right when we started dating.
Swooned. Yeah, I poured my heart into that book. I mean, just mentioning that, I wrote a lot of very personal stuff in there, which was interesting, like bouncing my own reflective thoughts into the margins of the book. And it really sets up a framework that, you have to really build a relationship with yourself. And then you're able to have that soulmate experience with, a lot of various different types of people, and how to really build and cultivate that and not being reliant on maybe another person for your happiness. And that's a truly beautiful book for sure.
Yeah.
How'd you two meet?
I swiped right. Yeah.
He swiped right. You two have been together for how long now?
3.5 years?
Yeah, officially.
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Known each other for like a little over that, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that covers it. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you for telling us about the great, not great, don't come here.
Yeah.
City of Louisville.
Please
All
come
right.
visit though. Hit us up.
All right. Bye.